Oh, wow. I've never seen this before.
Yeah. So it's just like we get to have Siri along for the ride with this podcast. So introducing into our little episode here, I've got the legendary Jake Ward. And as last minute and random as me, I feel like Jake has a very similar attitude to life. He is an entrepreneur, a business owner. He's a mindset and personal transformation coach for men. I think I just nailed it. I am going to mic drop myself here. I don't really have too much of a background on who you are as a person, other than I've heard so much about you from other people. And it was like, I just feel like I need to reach out, get you on, hear your story as to why you do the work that you do, particularly with men, but how you kind of entered into the like entrepreneur scene. Because I don't know if people are watching the YouTube version of this and can see Jake and his level of casual and epicness that he has, you'll probably want to know more about him as well. And a side note, he is doing the Goggins 4x4x48, and he is doing this in one of his breaks. So like high fives all round for you, dude. And come on in, introduce yourself, tell your legendary story, and let's get this show on the road.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, Lauren. I guess, the easiest way that I can start this is, I've grown up as a young kid exposed to domestic violence. I grew up with divorced parents. Throughout going through all of that, I was an overweight kid, bullied, big glasses. It's not really like the casual like character that I am now, like tattooed up and skinny or not skinny and all of that, so like I had a lot of barriers to start. But if I was to rewind my story where it all started, it was, I grew up through a troubled childhood. And like anything, man, you're growing up through a troubled childhood, you are a product of the people that you are around. And my mum and dad were beautiful people. It's just, there was different things that I'd been exposed to and different circumstances. So I guess it all started for me, like that was the starting frame for me. And then I guess getting bullied as a kid when I was younger. So I was bullied a lot, like from the ages of like 7 to about 14 years old. And I guess
The
like if you look at the
shaping
ways
years,
that
hey.
yeah, exactly. Like from 0 to 7 is the imprinting years where your brain's in a state of theta and it's constantly downloading what it means to be a human being. And then from there, I think it's 8 to 14, which is it's the modeling period. So where you learn from like TV stars, this is where your shadow's created too, right? Which is pretty cool when you do the shadow work, your TV stars, think people that you idolize, your friends, your family, and all the people that are around you. And as well, on top of that as well, you could be modeling off people's parents at school or etc. You know what I mean? So for me, like when I was going through all of this pain, like it was quite traumatic for me, you know what I mean, to feel like outcasted, to feel alone, to feel bullied, and to feel like insecure and to feel weak. And Dr. Demartini says our greatest unconscious values come from our greatest unconscious voids. So this is where the value of strength and protection came into me, and this is where it was born. So like I'll never forget this day. I was at a rugby club at the time, and I didn't have my older brother. And this is a part of my story where it came leading into, 15 years of martial arts, professional kickboxer, first down black belt, done Brazilian jiu-jitsu, done Krav Maga, special forces, every sort of martial art that you can think of that I've done. And I remember getting bullied by a massive amount of group of kids. And it wasn't just like one, they were older and they beat me up. And then I just remember going to my mum, like, "Mum, help." And she didn't really understand at the time. Like I was upset. She said, "No, it's all good." And then it happened again. And then I remember in that time and in that moment, I went out there and fought for my life. In my mind, I was fighting for my life. Right. And I went out there and like unleashed everything inside of me, all that pain. And I got the bullies to stop bullying me. So I was like, oh, hold on a second. I'm onto something here. And then it kind of happened a little bit again, and I just kept fighting off all the bullies, and it got to like 14. And this is still, like brewing all of my insecurities. I had body insecurities, thought I was fat, big hips, big nipples, glasses, thought no girl would ever want me in my life. And that kept going until I was about 14 when a girl said I was fat and had man boobs. And then that's when I decided to change, and that's what like brewed that pain inside of me. And then from that, I after I got bullied and that happened, I started martial arts at the age of 15. And that's when my life started to change for me. So I could say, the martial arts, it carried me, as my story goes on, has carried me through the foundations that I had in martial arts was focus, discipline, humility, and be the hardest worker in the room. That's what carried me through. And that was the ethic that I defaulted back on to get me out of that gang mentality, which I'll go into. So I guess, before I keep moving through the story, do you have any questions on that? Because sometimes I ramble, so I just like to check in with you. You tell me if there's anything that you need to ask. Otherwise, I can still keep these wheels spinning.
Woo, the vibes over here. But I love that you asked that question, because I love that people get lost in their story and they start to tell it, and not even get lost, but just start to tell it. Because so many people think that their story is something so far beyond them, or it's not interesting. It's like, but you lived it. It's different to my life, and I want to hear it. And I think what's coming through to me is like, I really want to understand like what your why is. And when you talk about the girl that said that, it's like, I know that your mentality now would be so grateful for that catalyst moment that
For sure.
took you to the point of, I'm never fucking going back here. I never want to feel like this again. I never want to have those comments come in. And I'd just be curious about the processes along the way to get to the legend that you are now, because I'm sure, like, I think of life a little bit in terms of like the Eminem albums where he has like relapse recovery and all of that kind of stuff. And I love him, he's such a legend. But I would love to know if you've hit like points along the way where you felt triggered to go back into that, the state of insecurity and fear. And I'm sure that happened before you really mastered all of the teachings in the martial arts side of the world.
Yeah, for sure. Don't worry. When I ended up before I go back into it, on fast forward, when I came into 18 and going out night clubbing and getting involved with gangs and all of that stuff, all the insecurities bred back. I had to go through and come back and pull it off. But I guess one of the pinnacle points was obviously with that girl, and another one just before that happened. And this is where I believe in the law of manifestation, right? I remember vividly to this day, right? And I claimed myself. I was in my Xbox. I was playing Xbox in my brother's room of like a fighting game. It was called Death Row. I think I remember the name still. And it was like, you could create your favorite character on there and you go through all the levels, bashing all these guys. And, I made him everything that I felt that I wasn't at the time, like good looking, fighting skills, like so he could have the ability to protect himself. And I just kicked some ass in there. And I just said, I remember specifically when I was like, nah, one day I'm going to be like that fighter on that game. And I'm going to have the ability to protect myself, my friends, and everyone else around me. And I was like, and I will get there. I was like, no matter what. And I didn't really realize until and I claimed it, you know what I mean? Like I claimed it vividly. I remember saying that, my intention and my feeling were there, and I just claimed it in that moment. And then as the years led on and it started to devolve, I finally it kind of went ding one day. I was like, I made this happen. But but was there, so before I go back into that, and I guess my why, before I go further into the story, was more cultivated after I got out of the gang life. And that was just the driving forces from my martial arts that helped get me through that. But I only just started my journey here. This is when I started at 15. But do you want me to continue? Have you got any questions on that?
No, we'll go into some NLP and visualization manifestation stuff after you talk about just continue with it. Talk about the gang life. Tell me about it. I'm so curious because I just see you and I'm like, I just get so inspired by people who choose to make it through. Because when you talk about, I saw this kid on the video screen that I thought I was going to be one day. It's like when I hear that, I'm like, you were already that kid. Like that kid was inside of you already. It was just about shedding the layers of fat. It was shedding the layers of shit beliefs and conditioning, which, thankfully for the tools of martial arts, which resonated with you, or yoga with me, or whatever the heck it is with someone else. And it's like, to get to where you are, I'm like, yes, you made it, because you're such value in this world, and your message to share with people. I'm sure you've just got so many people that respect and admire you, and you've gotten them out of their crappy state.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like, and you hit the nail on the head. We have everything that we inside of us that we need, right? And it's an NLP principle. Like, you have all the resources that exist are within you. It's just about you searching for them and looking for them, because we always look. Our brain's trained to look for what's wrong, not for what's right, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess as going through my childhood was, domestic violence, divorced parents. I had witnessed all of that. Kid that was bullied, overweight. So I experienced a lot of body insecurities, a lot of shame, guilt, embarrassment, and the way that I looked. And then to hit the nail back on the head, that's where 15, I started to get the martial arts, got into shape. And as I said before, those stories happen. So as my life continues, I think, went through schooling and everything else like that, got great grades, was this computer science geek. So I was this computer gamer nerd that was also great at martial arts. So it was kind of like a mixed lifestyle. And then eventually, I guess, like for having this void of protection and like this wounded kid, I always had a need to be strong and a need to be protected. And I had to cultivate that through myself, through fighting, started kickboxing and when I was 17 years old. But fast forwarding on, like, I wanted to be an SAS, a commando in the Australian Royal Army. And then I wanted to be in the SAS. And then I kind of got out of school and kind of got talked out of it a little bit. And my life did a little bit of a 180. When we get to 18, we get curious, right? So I started, doing drugs, alcohol, partying, having a good time. And, from this kid was bullied, I cultivated a massive, like, beautiful friendship circle that I still have to this day. I've known him for 20 years, 15 and 10, all above 15 years now. And so as we went out and my brother, he was always my protector and my guardian, all of that. I was a martial artist. He would always look after me. And he went out and said, like, it's a rule, through his experiences going to all these parties, like people are getting bottled, a lot of it was actually a lot worse back in the day. People were getting bottled and stabbed and all of that stuff. He's like, it's a harsh world out there, bro. I'm always going to be there to protect you, because I know that you're doing your martial arts and everything else like that. But you're going to make sure that you defend yourself. If you ever go out and a situation like this occurs to you, just like be the first one to hit. And I really took that on. And I was very overprotective of my friends because I'd had, divorced parents, and I was bullied a lot. And, I felt like, I didn't want to lose that. So every time that I'd go out and we're at night clubbing or anything like that, I'd never be the bully because I had been bullied and I know what that is, but I had a very, very short fuse. And, and that's what would happen. Like when an altercation would come up, like, hey, mate, like, you're right, you're in your space. And 9 times out of 10, like back then, a lot of people are getting lippy after a few alcohol. So as soon as that happens, that's my trigger. And that's what led me to getting banned from every nightclub in Perth. I had, was banned from nearly every single nightclub in Perth. And still to this day, like I actually went out, like I don't really go out much anymore, even though that's all been smoothed over. I've learned how to control all of that. And that's not even a worry in the park. I'm sitting out there and I'm pretty much coaching people when I'm out in nightclub. Not that I ever really go to nightclubs, but in pubs, I'm like, relax. Like, that's not worth it, man. I was like, think of the consequences, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, like, yeah, as I was saying, it was still like that. I'm still banned. I went to that place, like, you're banned. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I haven't been out in like 5 years. He's like, oh, no. He's like, come in. He's like, I'll let you. I was just like, man, it's still getting haunted from this shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, like that bred into me. So what happened was just going out here and I would be the bully basher. I'd go out to the nightclub and I'd bash all the guys that were the bullies. And obviously that got me in trouble a lot, like with all the guys, anyone that would like hurt my friends or harm my friends or aggressive, it would be on straight away, no questions asked. And that's how I learned, obviously, with that and fighting, which was a very yin and yang. So I'm humble, disciplined, focused, and I'm drinking, doing drugs, getting lit, and fighting everyone. So it was like I always say it's the yin and yang, like the good and bad. It was a very mixture lifestyle. So I was still like cultivating with these two flavors. And then I guess after time, and me and my brother also had that big reputation as well in our area called Rockingham. We had a massive reputation of, of who we were and what we stood for. That eventually led us into gang life. I was still training, doing martial arts all the time, fighting. And for me, like, it was never really for me. I didn't really ever really choose the gang life, but it kind of chose my brother. And at that time, like I hadn't had the best, my relationship had always been steady with my mum, but I was quite disconnected with my dad, and I love my brother more than anything. And I felt like when he joined, I was going to lose him. So I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do if I lose him? Like, okay, cool. So I have two options here: potentially lose my brother because I can't help him, or if something happens in that life, how can I help him? How can I be there for him? I can't, because I'm an outsider. So the only way to solve this in my world is to join with him. And in his time at the moment, in his mind, he was like, I've got to join the gang so I can be the most feared person so I can protect my brother. So that's the reason why he joined. And then I joined to protect him. And then, then that's, at the age of 21, I was the youngest patch member of the Rebels Motorcycle Club, which was at that time the number one biggest gang in Australia. So I was only 21 years old. And I became, as you anything like going through in that toxic masculinity environment, you understand that. Yeah, I got a massive, it was a great perspective thing there. And I can't say that I regret all of it, because it's allowed me to have such an open mind and be able to see and understand so many different sorts of people, because all the people in there, like mostly scared men. They're insecure. They want to find something. They're lost. They're searching for something to make them feel loved and significant and to be connected. And obviously with that comes bad consequences and negative consequences, but most of them are like that. And then you have the other people as well that are just all screwed up. And then there's the other people that just like to ride motorbikes. But that's what I found. And being in there and learning about it all was a massive experience for me. So before I take this story, keep going, I can tell you where it all shifted for me, but just to check in, do you have any questions?
I love how you do that. It's really cool, Jake. Because the whole time that you're talking behind him on his background, it has evolve, innovate, inspire, but I keep reading just love. And I think this is,
impact,
and it's
like, well, I think,
like love is evil. I'll spell it backwards, like Eminem would say. I think I said in my last podcast that I just did, but it's like, no, but like love feels like the thing that things always boil down to, like of feeling like we belong somewhere. And that's what both you and your brother were doing. That's the men that you coach these days. It's this feeling of like, we're not enough, or if we need to prove ourselves in some sort of way that we'll eventually feel loved, whether that was in bashing people or like being part of a gang. It's this deeper meaning of wanting to connect to like a group of like-minded people who are wanting to, do good for the world. And that for you were doing good for your friends, but it was at the expense of other people. So I will let you go down what you will be sharing next, but I would love to also understand now how you bring love into your world as well. So it's like replacing that bad habit of the way that you were doing it before that wasn't in the most constructive way, to now how you bring love in to be like that force for good in your world.
So yeah, I guess like the way that I bring love into my world, and that is when you've been through so much at such a young age now. Like I have such a perspective, I've been through like what most men have in a whole fucking lifetime within 29 years. You know what I mean? It's been a roller coaster to go through that, like almost heaps of personality shifts too. And I guess I can always merit that too. I always never lost sight of my truest values, my core values. And that was just my moral compass that I still grew up with. I grew up to be like this mummy's boy with big heart and big love. And I could prop that to my friends, right? I never really lost sight of who I was. Yes, there was behaviors and mentality shifts and habits that could all be pushed back, but I never really lost sight. So I was with all these bad people, and then I'd go be the exact same Jake Wall that I was young with all my best friends. So that allowed me to do that. But I guess for me now, like when I was in the gangs, it wasn't really that I chose that I got love and connection. There was more, I got significance from it. And it was born from that. It was that significance, but it was more that born for, because I got connection and love through my friends that are still there. I never really needed it. And when I was in there, because I was different, I was only feared in there because I was a hard worker. I'd work harder than anyone, and I trained all the time. And I was a stan. I wouldn't take shit from anyone. and I still stand to that day. But obviously, with that ethic, it's not like that anymore. It's like, hey, I see you, brother. I feel you. So how can I help you? But the way that I guess, you know, from that, so I've got that significance now. I get significance in transforming people's lives. I get significance in, you know, not only transforming men's life, but I also run a 6-figure business, which is my gym coaching business. So my gym with my best friend. So I get to literally help build a community, a safe community where there's nowhere you go. There's everyone that goes there, they can feel welcome. You know, we have such a good time. And I can, when I go into that, I can relate to going to the Tony Robbins, seeing the atmosphere and then bringing it into a gym. And that's what we try to kind of do. And as you would have been, if you've been through that, which I will get to eventually, like when you've been through that, you would know, like when you go in there, you're like, this is sick. Woo! It was very upfront first.
Right?
I was just like
woo!
Yeah, like when I get into, like when I fast forward to where I left and everything else, that was one of the biggest pinnacle factors. But I thought everyone was on drugs in Tony Robbins. I was like, people I thought would come to a business and personal development seminar, everyone's on drugs. I was like, what's going on here? I literally did. I was just like, why is everyone dancing? I was like, are they selling alcohol here? And I was going around looking, I was like, beers. So where's the beer stand? I was like, I can only see water. And like these green shakes. It was crazy, right?
I guess it's that like people can see that as well, and like on onlooker without having knowledge or anything, you go into instant judgment, right, of like previous experience, or you go like cult, like you're a fucking cult, what is this, like, and it's like,
yeah.
But then you enter into it and you realize that, I guess with all of the work that you do now, that it's all about state and it's about physiology and where like your energy's at, and the quickest way to kind of access that is through like our breath and our body movements. And it's
100%.
really contagious. It's like, it's so contagious when you're in it. It's like, you don't want to be the one who's not fitting in a room like that. It's like, so you get up and rave and you're like, I'm raving at like 3 a.m. because it's an American seminar and this is fucking nuts and I love it. Like I can't explain it. It's like you have to get people to experience it. And I'm sure that's what you get people to do in the gym. That's like, just, you have to experience it. You can't just talk about it. You have to do the work.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. But yeah, like if that was to answer the question, that's how I've always had love in my life, and I always bring that love with me. You know what I mean?
Love it.
And learning more about like heart math and everything in there, when you're in service of your heart and you're really connected to it, you know, that's when you learn to be really contribution given. You know, learning to be contribution driven, like one of the 6 human needs as well. When you can switch into contribution driven, it doesn't matter about the outcome, because money and whatever you want will come, because it's a way of being authentic and genuine. And if you're doing that and that within that best interest, the byproduct of what you want will always come. But yeah, I guess like moving on, like in 2015, you know, like that's where my life changed. So like I wasn't still the transformed human being. I was still aggressive. I experimented with steroids and stuff, stuff like that. I think I was sitting like 92 kilos now, but at one point in my life, I was like 112, 110 kilos, like big juice meat monkey of what people used to call it. And, I was working fly in, fly out. So I was working fly in, fly out, doing a 4-in-1 roster. I'd been doing that for like 3 years back then. And I didn't finish fly in, fly out until 2017. But I'd experienced, you know, all the dramas and, you know, like the isolation problems and the mental health issues that come alongside working FIFO. But yeah, I guess in 2015, that all changed for me. I think I lost a job for sticking up for the boys, telling one of the big bosses to go fuck himself and stop pushing, like stop pushing the boys. It's not that you're trying to do it. You're trying to make us compete in a high level risk job against another team to beat their time, so that you can get this done quicker. That's fucking bullshit. I was like, go fuck yourself, mate. Excuse my language too. Like, and that was like, yeah, it was like got really highly triggered, lost my job. And my life and this is the pinnacle point of my life kind of come tumbling down from there. I kept losing jobs, couldn't sustain a job. And I was actually in $40,000 worth of debt on criminal charges. That wasn't actually me. So I was fighting it. It later got dismissed, but it still cost me an arm and a leg. So I'd lost my job. I was in a toxic relationship with a girl, working fly in, fly out. And for those men who are listening, when you have relationship troubles and you're working 4-in-1 and you can't contact them and they're refusing and they're doing, it sends you insane. send you insane. You know what I mean? Especially if you're like in love, as you'd like to call it, or whatever you'd want to give that. But yeah, 2015, I was still involved with the gang. I'd lost my job. Oh, yeah, another job. I was $40,000 in debt. I had started doing things to make ends meet so I could pay my bills, like pay my rent. It came to like my life came crashing down, and I sat on the edge of my bed in like self pity, like crying, upset, and I was like, "What the fuck happened to you?" And like, he's like, "What? You look at your fucking life, look what you've done. You're 23 years old, and this is where you're at right now. You've got no money. You can barely pay your bills. You can't. You're just surviving to get food." And obviously, I had a little bit of support with my brother. I was like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" And it was in that moment, in that pain, that's when that warrior instinct in myself, in my martial arts box. It's like in NLP, we look at copy paste strategies where you've had success. It's like how the brain generalizes. And all I did, I was just like in that moment after I experienced that struggle and pain, and I remember crying myself almost to sleep. I was just like, no. It was like, this isn't you. It was like, time to step the fuck up and take full ownership for your life. Take accountability for everything. It's not their fault that you got angry. It's not this fault. Everything in your life up until this point is your responsibility. You take that and you do something with it. And I always tell people, and this is one of my favorite sayings, is that all great change happens when you get sick and tired of your own bullshit.
Right.
And if you're familiar with Tony Robbins' work as well, you do also say, the same thing, when you will remain the same until the pain is greater than wanting to change. And that's the same principle, right?
Totally.
Because through pain, there will always be two options: to sit there and continue play a victim, or you can step the fuck up. And that's what I chose to do. And then I done that the same day, clean the house. I got up the next day, cleaned the house, got all my shit together, tidied everything that I could think of, done my resume, got my resume done, applied for every single job that I could think of for fucking hours, called everyone up relentlessly. Yeah. Everyone up, go, go, go. And then I was just like, this isn't enough. I was like, right, bang, Google. Got into Google and I was like, how to be successful. I was like, I'm not fucking dealing with this anymore. And then that led me into like learning about books. Read Rich Dad Poor Dad, Donald Trump, Think Like a Champion, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, Think Rich and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I don't think the Satellite of Giving a Fuck was out there. I read different real estate books, and I read all these different books until I come across another book called Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within. So I was reading all these books, and I finally got a job. I got a break. So I got a break, and then learning all these books, I learned how to put finance strategies in place. I kept doing this, and I kept doing this, kept evolving, saving, paying off my debt, systemizing my life while working a fly in, fly out with 100% intention just to do good. And I started getting my fitness back together and everything else like that. And then, then it wasn't until I realized the power of mindset. Like I was like, you keep going so motivated and then you stop. So I was like, there needs to be a tool here. Oh, your mind. Best mindset book. And that's when I came across Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within. Nice. And then I started learning about the mind. I'm like, oh my God, well, I didn't even know this existed. You can do stuff like this. Wow, this is crazy. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's like a life before it and then after it. And this is how I describe, like, I was so skeptical of like Tony Robbins. I'm like, whatever is whatever. And I came over and it's like literally my life before I moved here in with my sister and her partner who are awesome. And before I met Tom, it's like, what the fuck was I doing for the rest of my life? Like, I thought I was like, no, it's just like me before then. And I knew that inner me was like the me that I am now, but it's just like, I also didn't know the levels that you could go to. And it's like, you open up that Narnia door, like, fucking welcome in. Like, these are my friends. Hello. Come on, boys. Boys and girls.
Yeah, 100%. And now, so I was experiencing all of this personal growth while still being involved with gangs and still was like not necessarily fighting as much, but my growth had done this, and this had happened until 2017.
Wow.
So experiencing the life of chaos and destruction, and then abundance and joy, and I'm getting a big hat. So I was like moving forward through this, but moving through that, it was come to 2017. I'd saved, over 100 grand. I paid off all my debts. I had everything right. I had everything like sorted, and it was 2017. So 2016, sorry. And I still was involved in the gang. And I was like, oh, let's go to this Tony Robbins event. I read his book. It's crazy. So I went over to Sydney with 3 of my friends, and we did Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within live in person. And we done all of that. And I was just like sitting there like this gang member jumping around like, yeah.
Make you move.
But it wasn't like that. It helped me break through so much. And that was when the power of, I was like, personal development was born for me. I was like, okay, I had a fear of failure, fear I'm not good enough, fear I'm too dumb, fear of this, fear like I had insecurities, all of this. And I realized that it was just a thought and a belief that I chose to believe in by the meaning I attached to something in a certain negative situation in my life, or in something where I had emotional impact in my life, and these stories came up. And when I realized I had the ability to change these stories and shift these stories and create new stories and believe in them, I was like, what the fuck? And we've done all the walk across the coals and all the breakthroughs. And I was just like, man, there's something in this. And that's when I manifested being a coach. I was like, all right, cool. This is something that I'll write this down as another business while I'm still opening another business. And then it was 2000. So we'd done all the Tony Robbins, still involved in gangs. And in 2017, there was a massive blow up in the gang world where there was a patch over. So if you've ever seen like Sons of Anarchy or anything like that, it's not necessarily something that go down well. It's where the one gang shifts to another side, they swap over. So it was pretty much like where I was right then. It was blowing up in that area. And as you could imagine, like with all the stuff that's involved with that. And when we got an opportunity to change, myself and a lot of the other friends that I grew up with, we decided to leave. And I was like, where like this isn't this. I only ever joined, I lost, like when I was doing this, I was such a passionate individual. And when I joined the gang, they took fighting away from me. They took away my fighter's license. So that was my outlet for all my pain back then. And that got taken away from me. You know what I mean? Still, I was able to do martial arts. And that's when, I got my black belt, my first down black belt in Zendukai, and trained, for like fights after fight after fight. But that got taken away from me. And I was just like, man, I want to get that back, and I want to change my life. I had already done that. Also, this is an opportunity for me to set myself free and be rediscover myself and be that person that I am, which is a heart-led human, and be that person and show up as that person and keep innovating and creating that person every day. And when I done that, I left, and that's when I began to take massive action. And you'd be familiar with that with the time. I was like, let's go, let's do this.
Yeah.
So, like still working, like I'd worked FIFO planning out, and we opened a gym called Core 9. So we left 2017 in December. Sorry, 2000. I think 2016. I think I might, or 17. I'd left, and then 2017, I'd quit FIFO. I'd quit FIFO, retired the FIFO. I'm burning the motherfucking ships. I'm not renewing any of my cards. I'm not doing any of that shit. I'm making this work, right? And that's what I said. And then and we opened up a gym, and then after a while, like I said, we were 2 scaffolders, right? 2 scaffolders. I'd like read books and stuff like that, taxes, this bit of marketing, that like that, but we hadn't really no like business skills. But we just made it work. We just learned, innovated, kept creating the skills. I kept learning more, kept getting the skills like marketing, sales. I did courses and all of that, businesses, how to make businesses work, and then just learned on the job too. And then, fast forward, 3 years, throughout that period until right now, from 2017 to now. So what's that? 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. From 2017 to 21, we made the gym successful, looking at opening another one. I become a neuro-linguistic practitioner, then a master practitioner, mental health first aider, done thousands of hours of like personal development. And then I created like it wasn't originally a men's mindset transformation company. I was just, like a coach, but I just learned the power of personal development. I was like, if I can fucking change this and make this happen and create this job, and I thought like living not financially free, but living freedom was like just a myth. Like I was like, you're in a job forever, and then you just get a house, and then that was it, because we're pre-programmed to think, all right, the social idealisms, which just means the social norm, the beliefs and values that the society and the government project at you. At 30, you must be married with a kid, have a house full of debt, and that's what you're meant to do. And then everyone gets to feel like, oh my God, I'm going to have a house, kids, debt, I'm out of the norm. And it's like they're where we wear these masks to fit in with the social norm of society, so we don't get that fear of rejection.
Yep.
And yeah, then that's like how I done that. And I continued to innovate and like work on myself and make sure that I'm doing that. And now I'm trying to build my men's coaching business on the side. So I do that in my spare time. I run the gym in the spare time. I do the marketing for the gym in the spare time. And then we're potentially rebranding and making another gym. So we're just looking, that's on our radar. So hopefully that'll be number 2 business, or technically number 3 business on this side. And yeah, I just keep pushing and more. And like I still, like I say, some people you say relentless. I'm like, yeah, I am, but I'm a human being. I still have my days where I just want to eat KFC and watch TV.
Right. Yeah, it's like leave me the fuck alone and let me chill. Which it isn't something that it's not a Goggins standard, but I know that you've got a lot of Goggins traits in you, and I really, really respect that. Like I love that, like burn the ships kind of line. But like even with the fact that you were able to leave something that had such powerful, significant hold over you of being in a gang with it, I don't even know if your brother's still in it or still existing in that kind of, yeah, cool. But like, how do you transition from a life like that? It's such a paradoxical world to leave it. I'm sure it must have felt really, like, I guess as part of your soul would have been longing for that, but then there would have been that side of like, losing something or needing to change environment, because wouldn't that like have like such a huge hold on where you were hanging out, or dictated where you could hang out, or I don't know what the logistics side of that is.
So yeah, it did, like not necessarily like I always had a separate group of friends, and everyone that joined, like I had my circle, then my brother's set of friends, and all my brother's friends who I'm still friends with this day, they all left too.
Yeah.
So when we left, it was never really like I had lost a big part of me,
Cool.
because I always felt like I was an imposter in there. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
I felt like an imposter. Like, this isn't really me. Yes, I will fight every single one of you if I have to.
Yeah.
And if you come near me or do anything like that, I will never back down. So I guess it's the only thing that got me through all of that was, again, there was that warrior mentality.
Yeah.
It was that like, listen, I will never fucking take a backward step. And that's the thing I think that where I was so respected for. Yeah. Because okay, cool, I'm meshing, and you still create bonds, and I still create friendships, and a lot of people that I have met in there have left, and some people that I grew up when I was younger had joined, and I don't hold anyone to any standard, you know what I mean? Because how does that dictate to us to better we are enlightened human beings if we constantly, analytical mind, judging, criticizing, comparing people? That's ego, right? That's what the ego is designed to do. So once you have to learn how to hold zero attachment to things, and then you can learn how to be in the moment, that's when you can start to understand someone. I think the 7 habits of highly effective people say, seek first to understand, then be understood.
Yes, totally. Knowledge is power, and power without knowledge is dangerous. And I'm curious, like, what Core 9 actually means to you. Why was that name chosen between you and your fellow scaffolder and mates? And what are the values behind you? Like, what are your values? And I'm sure they directly transfer to the gym and all of the work that you do as well.
So, like, I guess, so the Core 9 name was actually a franchise from over Sydney.
Okay.
And so it's called Core 9 Fitness, which is a 31-minute workout, 9 shape points, 3 minutes of work, 30 seconds of rest, literally the best thing about it, there's no session times or booking times. But where we connected with it was as well because it was a mixture of boxing, kickboxing, military training, gymnastics, strength training, all formulated into this one system that's mindless. You get in, you get out, and you can have heaps of fun. And it's really personalized because you've got personal trainers working with you on the floor the whole time. And when we connected to that, and because I had martial arts is deep in my heart, when I seen the boxing and kickboxing, I was like, and military training because I wanted to be in the camera, I was like, this is sick. You know what I mean? For us. But I guess like my values that we generate into the gym, you know what I mean? Like where our core 9 values are generally like communication, teamwork, energy and love, and loyalty and discipline and growth.
Perfect.
So that's our thing, you know what I mean? And what we do is one of our beliefs is we aim to deliver 1% better than everybody else. Customer service, training, everything. So that's what innovates, because at the end of the day, teamwork makes the dream work, right? So you have to have that team. You have to be able to vibe off that. And then one of that, you always have to be constantly expanding. If you're not growing, you're dying, right? You need to be constantly expanding. And I guess the loyalty part was always like, you're loyal to the people that are close to you, right? And then the success is kind of more, if you break that value down to be like growth under their growth and a little bit of contribution as well. And that's obviously without, you can have all these great values, but it needs to be focused into giving too.
Definitely.
And I guess my personal values, like, depends what in what context. Like I can say like my core values are different to like my vocation values as well. So like my health, my business, but I guess my biggest core values would be growth. One of my strongest things, everything that I'm doing is to get better, to become a better person, to be able to learn more, to be able to, give more. So I guess, growth would be the biggest one for me. Freedom is huge for me. Like, because when you've been trapped by like debt and this, like, I just want to be free, you know what I mean? And that's what drives me. It's one of the biggest drivers that I have, because I want to be free. I don't want to be bounded by money, by circumstances. I want to learn how to be free. And then the other one that I could go back into would be like self-love. And self-love to me is like bringing love and connection and giving into one. You know what I mean? So like being able to, with growth and so what was, I had
growth and contribution, or
so it was growth and freedom.
freedom.
The growth and freedom, sorry, is that abundance. Like, you can't give until you can't give to the biggest of your capabilities until you're abundant, right? You know what I mean? You can still give, but you can't give to the level that you want to until you create that freedom for yourself. And then it's like climbing, like you got to climb the mountain, right? Once you climb the mountain, you've got the strategy, you've got the tools, then you can throw the ropes down. You're at the top, so you're just throwing the ropes down and you pull mother effers up. That's what you do, because once you reach a certain thing, you want to bring everyone up to your level, because you know that level of consciousness and expansionness for yourself is so beautiful, and you want to teach and innovate, inspire, and have that impact on people's life. Hey guys, if I'm up here and this is amazing, I feel great, my life's beautiful, I just, my first thing rolls back straight into protection. Everyone needs to get on this level. I'm going to help you. I've got the tools. I've got the strategies. How can I help? Let's go. Let's break free from this. And this is what personal freedom is. When all the chatter and all the noise and all the doubt is gone away from here, and you can experience life on a level of like complete, like bliss, and learning how to, and if you've heard of what Tony Robbins says, that magical moments, those beautiful moments where you are present and in the moment, and you're just like, life's fucking beautiful. And you can take that moment in your day and just like look out on the sunset and breathe and like, great. And you can cultivate that appreciation for not only life, but for yourself. And that all like comes down like within my men's coaching principle. I empower men to break through the bullshit stories that keep them playing small and trapped, to connect to a vision, an empowering vision, create purpose, and become relentless. Because as human beings, we mostly just react. We go out. 90 to 95% of our day-to-day life is run off the unconscious. And that's what Dr. Bruce DeLipton says, right? 5 to 10% is conscious. So if a lot of people have a lot of noise in here that's not dealt with, trauma, like things in their life where they've attached, crappy meaning to, maybe that they grew up as a kid and their parents didn't bring them up, pick them up on time. One time and they felt lost and abandoned, and now they've created this fear of rejection. You know what I mean? And then that evolves into social anxiety. Now you're living your life with that, and you have no idea what's going on for you.
Yeah.
And once we clear out that attic and start to inbuilt stuff that's empowering to you, you can literally, it's like putting the goggles of pain and misery on, throwing them off, and I actually did virtual reality the other day.
Yeah.
And putting a new life to look a lens. And that is what personal freedom is. To have something to work towards that fills your soul up, and then being able to experience life on a different level. That's what personal freedom is. And from that, you become a better partner. You learn how to make the moves to take control of your health. You learn how to, experience love on a different level.
Yeah.
Because you don't run into your ego, you don't run into the shadow side of yourself, you don't run into all them generalizations of, if my girlfriend cheated on me, that's going to happen again. So that's what it means as well.
Abundance is I love that you brought up that point, because I think when a lot of people hear abundance, people's minds instantly might go to money or whatever. And it's when we're thinking in terms of getting rich, I don't think of just getting rich in terms of having more monetary value so I can give back. I think of having abundance in relationships or health or career or communication or whatever it might be. And I really, really resonate and love the point of taking extreme ownership and responsibility, which is something that Jocko Willink, who I know you would know of and probably love his work too. It's something that he talks about strongly. And the analogy of climbing the ladder to be able to pull others up is we don't rest when we get to the top. There's a next level, there's a new devil. And it's it's actually harder when you've got more responsibility, because you have more people who you're trying to bring up to bring them with you. And it's not hard, oh, screw you, you made me pull you up. It's no, God damn, I am going to work until this is done. I will not quit until this is done. And it's you get stronger by pulling more people up, and it kind of gets easier at points. But when you do reach new levels, it becomes harder to bring people up to the next level. So for those people who are trying to climb to the top and just have a wine and chill and sit back, I don't usually resonate with those kind of people. It's keep fucking climbing, just keep climbing. But also do stop it to enjoy the view and enjoy the team and the people that you've got around you as well. And that's something that I'm really huge on too, is taking the chance to assimilate and digest where you've been, where you're going. Take a chance to actually look up and go where am I going? What direction do I want to go? Look around you, who am I bringing with me? Who am I choosing to pull up here? Because you don't want not everyone's going to want to be on your team, and not everyone's going to fit in with that part of your life or where you're at. So yeah, love it, dude.
100%. You know what I mean? And you hit it right there. Your proximity is power too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
So that's whereas the biggest thing is, if people, as you evolve and your consciousness evolves, and I guess that's just the way your outlook and everything is, you evolve as a person. Yeah. And I guess as leaders, for me as a leader, I believe that we're here to raise the consciousness up.
Yeah.
And that's to elevate people. And we do that through, influence. Obviously, we do that through influence, and people that get influenced by it, great. There's still going to be people that are stuck in the fixed mindset, stuck in their stories and stuck in that. And life happens for you, not to you. So whenever that they're ready to do that, they can. Maybe they're never ready, but that's a choice that they make.
Yeah, totally. Where's your brother in all of this? Is he all on board with the stuff that you do? Curious.
Yes, he's always that. So my brother right now, he's a supervisor up north. He's always been such a great and phenomenal entrepreneur. So he's had he actually he was the original owner of Luxury Ink Bali, which blew up. It's a multi-million-dollar business, but he sold it before he did it. So he sold it for $50,000 before it blew up. And he was the guy that started it all. And now they've got like 6 of them and they've earning millions. And now he's just opened up, it's called Sea West Camper. And so it's a car rental, van hire where they go all around like Australia and stuff with these bombed out vans. So he's doing that now. And if you, amazing the way that he's crafting that vision is beautiful.
Wow.
But yeah, he left too. Like we're still closer than ever. He's got a daughter. So he's just like the family dad, man, and he's building his business on the side and working FIFO. So,
dude, and as I'm aware, I feel like you live in the neighborhood. So why have we not caught up for coffee yet? And when are we going to make this happen for the team of us to come and just say hey and actually like give you a big squish or a shake hand or whatever you're into? That'd be freaking awesome.
Yeah, I know. I've actually spoken to Tom and Josh and said that, I know that they're in Secret Harbor too. And I've got to I guess for me, I'm so regimented sometimes. I go to work, I do my training, and they say to be exceptional in something, it's hard because I'm trying to be exceptional in 2 businesses and my health.
Yeah.
At the same time. So and then I've also now got a beautiful girlfriend. So now I'm trying to spread this relentless energy out of 4 ways, and to split your energy is like some days I'm in full pace on my gym, I'm in my computer bam, 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 boom, and I was like, I got to go to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym. I'm just going to do this. And I was like, you got to go to the gym, and it's so hard when you're in mode, right, to pull yourself out of that energy and shift it. And I got to go to the gym. It's so hard for me sometimes when I'm so focused. I'm like getting it done, and then it's like I got to go do this. I don't want to do this, and then I get so conflicted because they're both high values for me. So I'm just like
I feel like you're a fellow soul brother. I'm like, you're my spirit animal. Are you a Gemini by any chance?
No, I'm actually an Aquarius.
You're an Aquarius. Yes. Yeah. I know a lot of Aquariuses, which is an air sign too. So it's like, blast.
Yeah.
But you're definitely fire.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Let's definitely make it happen. Like it's not that hard sometimes. It's like almost sometimes I need the message to pop up, or I just need to bang it in my calendar. All right, this week, bang, boom. And it's not only that. I've been to retrospect, I was training for a 36-hour military special forces camp 3 weeks ago, and then I had a little bit of a break. Now I'm training for a fight, and I'm doing the David Goggins challenge 4 times 48. Then I'm working with a gym rebrand. I'm doing the marketing for the business at the moment, trying to grow my business, and then trying to grow my men's coaching business, and then fit my friends in, and then that, and then all of that, and then I'm just sometimes but it's cool. But 100% all it needs to do is this date, this week,
right?
Pencil you in, and I'm
totally awesome. Well, I'm known as the persister. People are like, thank God you were just kept popping up on my screen, because otherwise I just wouldn't have done it. So if you get a million messages and and if it happens to fit in with the rest of us here as well, that'd just be amazing. We all have just been like, we just need to see him. We just know this needs to happen. So when the stars and the moon and the sun and everything aligns, I know that we'll all touch base and hang out, even if it's for 5 minutes, dude, because we all respect business and life, and we're all same as you, hustling in so many different areas, that I have that same attitude of I need to do this practice, and I need to not need to, but need and get to. But I know that without one of those things in my regime, it affects the other areas, even though it feels like sometimes it's taking away. It's no, you need to do your meditation practice, or the rest of the other areas are going to just go nutso, and you're going to feel scattered. And it's take 20 minutes and you'll give yourself an abundance of time for the rest of the day.
100%. And I give you free permission to openly pester the shit out of me.
Yes.
Because I just know you are so right. I mean it. Get my ass in the air.
You've just hired yourself a pest.
He's excellent.
Pest control.
Hey,
can I bother him?
Thank you for the great podcast. When we're catching up.
Yeah, exactly.
Later.
Yes.
Question mark. I'm like, excellent. Nice one.
Exactly. I got you for an hour. Now I'm looking at our next catch up date. That was the whole point of this. But in all terms of wrapping everything up, I have honestly enjoyed everything we've spoken about. I love your energy. I love the value that you add. I love the way that you explain things and your like playful personality that has the combination of like business, like relationship, all your values, work, career, like all of the projects that you do. But if you were to give people like I like to ask them what book they're currently reading or would recommend, or like a favorite podcast that they love listening to, or a song that gets you amped up in the gym, that gets you into that weird like Tony Robbins dancing thing that you were talking about. It's like, what gets you buzzed, and what do you completely recommend everyone needs to hear or listen to?
So like I guess one of my biggest things that I do, like at the moment I'm listening to Relentless at the moment, and another one called Gym Launch, but that's just specific because every time I look at, like, if you know Tony Robbins, no extra time. So I do listen to a lot of audiobooks, but I understand that that's my weakest modality to like learn. So I got to write a lot of notes on that. But I guess the biggest one, it just depends. It's on context. If you are someone that's starting in the, and you want to create financial freedom, I would straight recommend Rich Dad Poor Dad and the Cash Flow Quadrants. If you are a person that wants to take ownership of your life and you want to, like start to like get results happening, David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah.
If you are in a relationship, I would look at the Love Languages book, because you need to understand how to like give and receive love, and then probably something like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That would probably be a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, for me, that's all my things. But I guess, I think a lot of people like will get the most out of probably like You Can't Hurt Me and listening to that book.
Totally.
It just depends. Like, I remember it. And Tony Robbins, The Awakening of the Giant Within.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
And in terms of podcasts, I haven't been really listening to many podcasts lately because I'm always either doing my audiobooks, and otherwise I'm like, I get, sometimes being growth my highest value, I get tiny shiny object syndrome, which I'm so aware of. I'm like, got to do this book, and I start to listen to like 20 minutes of everything. So
SOS.
and
It's
then,
called SOS for a reason. Fucking help.
yeah, I know. So I've got a hold of that, and I understand that now. Was there anything else that you asked me underneath that? Podcast, audiobook?
No, but what's your favorite song? Like, what gets you hyped? I hope it's something completely random.
Nah, so like, I like, when I'm doing my morning routine sometimes, and if I'm doing movement, like for like, I only do like 3 minutes, I listen to Darude Sandstorm. Digga digga dee. Have you heard it?
Is that the one?
I'll quickly play it on my phone.
All right.
But I've got heaps of podcasts that I do listen to, but I've got like so much different music. I'm like listening to like gangster rap, gonna kick your face in. Then I'm listening to meditation music.
Same.
And then I'm listening to like
this is my life. I go to like fucking cranking out Eminem and like Hilltop Hoods or NF or something, and then I'm like, like, what is happening up in here? How do we do this? It's great.
It's called the yin yang effect. Chaos and peace and abundance, baby.
Dude, I'm feeling it. I'm hearing you, brother. Play it. Play this song.
Alrighty, so where is it? So this is Sandstorm. Everyone would have heard Darude Sandstorm. But it's just like so intense, like to like move your body to. And I think I learned it when we did like one of the, if you've done the seminars before where you do like
it's Brian Bradley. I was singing it before. I was like, it is the same one. Yeah. It's the Running Man.
Getting up and moving. Yeah, but I've got all my playlists, so I can't say that I have so many different ones. But depending on what mood I'm in, like I get up, I'll chuck that on and try to get my body into state, move it about. You know what I mean?
What's a secret song that you're just slightly embarrassed that you like, but actually just bang out to it? And you're just like, this is cool. Like Taylor Swift or something.
Listen, like I
Come
literally
on.
don't. I don't think I really ever get embarrassed. I just like I step into everything. But I
Yeah.
like listen to like Tracy Chapman.
Oh, I love Tracy. That is not even, that's like you've gone up in my books, dude. She's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
his mum is like, give me one more reason,
Prison.
and I'm gonna change my mind. Or fast car, living in a fast car, living in a fast car.
Why am I hearing Darude Sandstorm in that living in a fast car?
Yeah, it's probably like mixed up. Yeah, it's remix.
Dude, can you
Yeah.
start a channel where you're just singing though? Because I thoroughly enjoyed watching you and listening to that. And yeah, appreciate you though. I appreciate your time, your energy, your value that you've given, and just saying yes. Really, it's that awesome thing of when we say yes, we just don't really know what the experience of the opportunity is going to unravel until we get into it. So I super appreciate you just being you. I love your personality and what you're about. So let's make this catch up happen, whether it's, we need to come to Core 9 and come in and get our Running Man on with you. Like I'm all about it.
Get the like what's the Fortnite dance? Is it
Oh, dude,
flossing?
I'm not a dancer. This is I just
Don't worry.
move. I don't know.
Do the like Monster Mash, which is
Yeah,
this one.
Smash. Yes. The film clip to that is the best.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so my spirit animal. I love it. Oh,
Oh, that's
yes.
awesome.
Cool. Well, we shall plan to catch up. And for anybody watching or listening, that's right. Where is the best spot for them to get in contact with you? Because I obviously stalked you down through Facebook. Is that the best option, or
Yeah,
Instagram, or where?
so yeah, I have a couple of different areas that you can reach me at, which is Instagram at iamjakeward.com. I am Jake Ward on Instagram, and that's for all my personal content that I put out there for men. So it's for both really, but it's specifically aimed at men, and that's men that wants to step their life game up. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And they want to get through that bullshit. They want to get through trauma. They want to get through negative thinking. They want a new quality of life that they could have never have imagined, and then they want that mindset to be relentless to get there. You know what I mean? And it's about being in integrity with yourself, being motivated, being driven, then also learning the tools and strategies to how to have that relentlessness but be abundant at the same time. And that's just learning to have a new perspective of how you view the world. Yeah, so I am Jake Ward on Instagram, and then Jake Ward on Facebook as well. Otherwise, if you're looking to email me for whatever reason, it's info@iamjakeward.com.
Perfect. And if anyone's resonated with Jake's story, wants to connect with him, wants to say, hey, give feedback, if this podcast has added any value to you or inspired you to want to jump on board at his gym, like pretty sure you said that was at Rockingham, and it's
Core 9
looking to
Rockingham.
Core 9 Rockingham, and it's looking to expand as well. So whenever you're doing promos there or you're looking to expand something, just hit me up and I'll always advocate for you as well where I can on my platform here too, because it's cool to support local, and then also just to connect with someone you're like, epic, it's awesome.
Is that yeah?
Woo. It's
Sure.
like, yeah, I see you and I'm like, oh, you're my brother. Like, that's cool.
I got you. Yeah.
I got you, bro. Yeah, it's like I know you got your brother and no one will ever replace him, but it's like, but I'm also here if you need, like, yeah, just to be pestered. Hey, it's me again. Hey, you know how you said you're okay with being pestered? I'm here.
Oh, thank you.
Cool. Well, we shall cut it there, guys. And yeah, reach out. Like we certainly both love talking, as you can hear and see. But continue to allow Jake to do his job and for me to do mine. So your value is, it's innumerable and it's infinite. So thank you again.
Thank you too, Lauren. Thanks for having me.